Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 4 of my Let's Play. How you doing? Man, I'm doing really good. What you just saw was a free build I did. I just wanted to make a simple structure to house the entry to the cave. I wanted it to look run down, kind of like it had been there forever. That was the only plan I had going into it. So I just grabbed a few supplies from my storage that I thought I would need, and I got to building. As you saw in the time lapse, it involved a lot of building up and tearing down and redoing parts of it. But finally, once I got a basic shape in place, I was able to detail it out, and I actually really like the way it looks. What do you think? So, last episode, we killed the Ender Dragon. We also bridged out and found an end city and got shulker boxes. And I also got some Elytra, right here. What I'm wearing right now. So this episode, we're going to take advantage of the fact that we have all this extra storage and we got wings so we can move that storage around faster and to more places and build some stuff. One thing that I need really bad is honeycomb. Sure, I've got those 4 beehives down in the base of the bowl, but I have to harvest them manually and I keep forgetting to harvest them. I only seem to remember when I actually need it, and then that's not any good. So we're going to build an automated bee farm in a beekeeper's house. Yay! But before we do that, we're going to do one thing we have yet to do in an episode yet. And that is use our Elytra. Oh, baby. Let me show you around a little bit. Of course, this is the bowl where we took out all the trees. Let's see if I can do this without, okay. Over here, you'll see, it should come into view here. Yeah, this is our trading village. It's just far enough away that if I'm working on my base at night, this part of the map is not active. So it's totally safe to work at night. The villagers are not in danger. In my first episode, after finding the village, I came up through this valley here, trying to look for a place to start. And I came, maybe it's over here. Yeah. I came across this other village, which didn't have a lot of stuff in it. So after that, I turned back and I went ahead and went up the mountains. And so here, coming into sight, you can see the tower outside of the bowl. This is the one that goes down to the skeleton spawner and the skeleton farm. And the bridge that goes out to it. And then if you come over here, just over here, we're back to the base again. So, this is the beginnings of our bee farm. I kind of laid out some of the basics here, like where I wanted the flowers, and I dug this trench underneath the flowers where the bees will be pollinating and where the bee nest will spit out the honeycomb and the honey bottles. So in order to pick up the honey bottles, we need to put these hoppers under the flowers, just like that. That way, they'll pull the honeycomb down into these hoppers, and then we'll put a chest right here to collect the honeycomb and the honey bottles. Just like that. Okay, let's do a little test. I'll throw here. Okay. Now let's make sure all the hoppers are lined up correctly, and yes, all good. Now we have to set up where the bees' nests are going to go, and also the redstone equipment to automatically harvest it. First, we need to put in these dispensers. Now we're going to put a pair of shears in each one of these dispensers, and that's what's going to be used to auto-harvest the bee nests. Now, these pieces of cobblestone that I'm placing these observers on are just temporary. That's actually where the bee nests are going to go. So what these observers are going to do is look for when the bee nest is full and tell the dispenser to go ahead and harvest the nest. How does it tell the dispenser to do that? Well, we'll get to that in just a second. But when it does all work correctly, it's going to spit out where the temporary cobblestone is right now and out onto the flowers there. And remember, there's those hoppers underneath the dirt, which is going to suck it through and into the chest. So that's what makes it automated. It's really a great system, and if you're just getting into redstone, this is one of the coolest little simple farms that you can make that kind of gives you some of the basic ideas of how redstone works. Okay, so back to the redstone stuff. In order for the observer to talk to the shears, we need to sprinkle some redstone dust here along the top. When the bee's nest is full, the little red dot on top of the observer will light up and it will send that signal to this yellow block. Below the yellow block is the dispenser, which will read that the yellow block has a signal, which will then tell the dispenser to go ahead and harvest the bee's nest. That's probably the easiest way to describe it. There's a few more other details, but basically that's all you need to know in order to get an automatic honey farm working. Now, we need to make a place for the bees to live. Words. So we're going to make a little 1x3 space here for the bees to fly around and harvest these flowers. We're going to make it out of glass so we can see the bees in action and make sure that the redstone stuff is working correctly. Alright, can't forget to block up the sides. We don't want our bees escaping. Okay, that's pretty much it for now. We need to leave a little opening to put the bees' nests in. Let's see here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we need a couple more, which we'll get from right here. Alright, it's nighttime, so all the bees are inside their hives. So pro tip, if you're on a server or you need a whole bunch of honeycomb for some reason, you can build a bee farm in the nether where there is no night, and the bees will run 24/7. I don't necessarily need it to run 24/7, I just need it to be running here while I'm doing other builds in the bowl, and that should be just perfect for me. So if you notice, every time I break one of these blocks, the observer light flashes briefly. That's because it's observing a change in the space that it's observing. You know, block, no block, block, no block, it flashes. Block, no block, it flashes. We're going to use that same principle for the bee nests. There you go. See there? The honeycomb was spit out. Of course, it came to me, but normally it would just fall on the ground and get sucked up by the hopper and put into the storage chest. So that's pretty cool. Everything's working like it's supposed to. All right, beehives are put in place. And check this out. We're already getting a little bit of honeycomb. It's only been like 5 minutes. So not all of these bee nests had bees in them. So what we're going to need to do is breed some of these guys up in order to really get the maximum efficiency out of this bee farm. In order to do that, we're going to need to grab some of these flowers here. If we give 2 bees a flower, they'll make sweet, sweet love and make a baby. So we want them to make a baby. Now, about this bee farm and beekeeper's house build, I want to keep, the same vibe that I've been going build-wise. I guess you would call it cottagecore of some type. But I want it to look lived in, looks like it's being used every day. And that's going to involve a lot of detailing. Not too much detailing, I'm not a fan of over-detailing. But I think there should be a lot of storage around, and a lot of tools and workbenches, and the detailing should, any bit of details should have a purpose and a reason for being there. Anyways, that's what I'm going for. And I hope you like it. But now, let's make some babies. There we go. Alright, there's a baby. You're cute. Let's do another baby. And I don't know who's left, so we'll just let those two... We'll let those two grow up for now, and we'll do a couple more here in a second. All right, so bees are pollinating. Bee nests are filling up with honey, and they're being sheared and dropped into our storage chest. Redstone's working flawlessly, and I think it's time to get building. Hey, how's it going? So we're back up here in my little storage area, doing a few last-minute preparations for the bee nest and the beekeeper's house. So I figure this beekeeper is not only really into bees, but is really into flowers. So what I'd like to do is do one of those grass roofs with flowers and shrubberies growing on top. And I needed to cook up some clay so that we could make some flower pots. But with everything here, I think it's time to go. Wow, well, I don't know if it's these shaders or what, but there's a rainbow here. I didn't know they did that. Shaders, not the rainbow, I mean. But yeah, this is the bee farm. I wanted to apologize for some of the gaps in the time-lapse. I was trying some new features in the time-lapse software, and I kept forgetting to unpause. So some of the gaps were very noticeable. At some points, it was like, no roof, then blam, a roof. So anyways, I'll hopefully do better in the next one. Anyways, this is the bee farm. It's done. I really like the way the flowered roof turned out, and I really like the way that the beekeeper's house turned out. After I was done with the time-lapse, I spent like a long evening working on the detailing around the sides and the back, and a lot of the detailing on the interior of not only the bee farm, but the beekeeper's house as well. I wanted to put in a shop of sorts, and I wanted to have a living quarters up top for the beekeeper. So I should have accumulated a lot of honeycomb by now, and I won't have to worry about scrounging for it every time I need it to wax copper ever again. But of course, here's the official farm area, which we've seen countless times, right? Bees are working hard. Honeycomb is being gathered. I think I might have gone too heavy on the trapdoors. I think in the bottom row, right by the bees, I think I'm going to turn that into like a flower bed instead. I think that'll add to the ambiance nicely, but I love the way the roof turned out. I figure this beekeeper is really into taking good care of his flowers, so he can take good care of his bees, so why not just put them everywhere, right? But look at this. Yeah, like I said, I spent a whole evening doing detailing. So this is kind of his work area. He's got a crafting table, he's got a bench here, he's got some mini barrels and bee nests, as one would expect. He's even got a bed here for on those really long harvest days. You can kind of take a little nap here in between harvesting. We've got our dispensers with shears in them, and yeah, this is that's it. Really simple, but I feel like the detailing added a nice touch. I've also kind of detailed the whole area. You know, I decided I'm gonna, when I finish a build, I'm gonna go ahead and terraform as much as possible around it. And I think there's, like I said, what I was going for, just enough detailing where everything here has a purpose. Up here, I'm carving a path around the edge of the bowl. So I wanted to make sure and have the back of it as detailed as well, because people are going to be able to walk behind it and see everything. So next up is the beekeeper's house. Don't ask how I got that bee head, but yeah, it was an unfortunate accident. This is the beekeeper's shop and where he processes his honey. I have some glowing item frames up that show the products that they sell. Behind the counter, they've got their books and all of their equipment. Got a little oven contraption over here for harvesting, processing the honey. Again, hopefully simple with just enough detail. That's kind of the way I like to do it. Oh yeah, and also, check him out. He's got a pet bird up in a bird cage. Now upstairs is the beekeeper's living area, where they have a closet here for storage, their bed, some books, a nightstand, some extra storage. This is their beekeeper suit, all ready to go. But again, yeah, simple with just enough detail. I feel like it looks homey, and it looks like where a beekeeper would work and live, and it looks lived in. You know, it's not a museum piece. It's got a lot of usable features, and I really just love the way it turned out. I'm super happy with it. You can kind of see where it is in relation to my starter base up the hill. That hill needs a lot of work, actually. But yeah, there's my starter base, and then down here is the bee farm. Now the other thing I wanted to show you is notice how these paths, they kind of go in a diagonal manner. We're going to kind of keep this trend throughout the bowl because it, you know, everything in Minecraft is so blocky that when you have these more diagonal winding paths, it kind of lessens the harshness of the blockiness. But I really like how these turned out. Like even this stairwell here is running up diagonally up the hill for the most part. But I like it. It really kind of adds a sort of flow with the meandering paths. And we're going to keep to the dirt and the coarse dirt and wood planks down here on the farm side of the bowl. And that's my bee farm, folks. What do you think? Man, let me know in the comments if you have any ideas for farms I should build next, or any adventures you think I should do. Next episode, I hope to take care of my gunpowder problem now that I have Elytra. I need to make rockets, but just getting a few pieces of gunpowder every once in a while from a creeper isn't going to cut it anymore. I'm just about out of my supply of rockets, actually. That's about it for this episode. Thank you so much for stopping by, and as always, I hope you have a great day and a great week, and you keep on smiling, and I'll see you in the next episode.